protein. I have heard multiple different things around protein recently. One is you don't need any more than 1.6 grams per kilo of body weight in order to gain muscle. Then there's the nuance of actually, if you are in a caloric deficit, then in order to hold onto muscle, or you're trying to do a body recomposition where you're trying to gain muscle, lose fat at the same time, then you should think about going higher. The other one is menopausal or peri or postmenopausal women both need to have at least 30 to 50 grams of protein in a single serving in order to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Can you tell us which of these are factually correct?
Yeah, they're all kind of sort of based on some kernel of truth. So taking a big step back, and this is my area. This is something this is actually my entrance in the peer-reviewed literature and what I do my master's on and what I still research now. Much like the dose of exercise, the dose of protein that you get within a day, if you're exercising and trying to produce changes to the amount of muscle mass you're carrying, has a bit of a diminishing returns effect. So it's really important, instead of thinking about just what is the optimal dose in the literature that we will sometimes, give to practitioners to report or to dietitians, is where are you currently starting? And one of the most powerful things you can do is actually just, even if it's not with an intention to change it, actually go through the process of tracking your nutrition, looking at nutrition labels, get a little bit of education, and then see where am I currently at. Many people are sitting around, say, like the 1 to 1.3 grams per kilogram range habitually in the West. If you are, let's say, more vegetarian, or you don't like meat as much, or you come from certain cultural backgrounds, it might be lower. If you're someone who is not that way, it might be higher. And going from, say, a low, quote unquote, category, let's say under 1.2 grams per kilogram of protein, to something in the more, quote unquote, moderate range, not even yet at the 1.6 gram per kilogram mark you mentioned, you will see a positive benefit that is larger from going from that moderate range to 1.6 or higher, right? It's very difficult to say there's a specific gram per kilogram protein intake range where after that you'll get no more benefits, without also talking about who are you and what are your goals and how much of a small change are you interested in. So when I'm talking to a competitive bodybuilder versus someone who's interested in lifting weights and eating more protein and adapting and doing it maybe, like in the constraints we talked about, I'm going to start lifting weights 2 or 3 times per week. I'm in my 40s and I think I really need to start thinking about this seriously. I would be happy to tell them that they never need to worry about going over 1.6 because they're not looking to gain every ounce of muscle that their body could possibly hold, over time, right? So the differences in the magnitude of benefit you get from going to high protein intakes or to moderately high protein intakes is very diminished and unclear. So I think for people listening to this, unless you are considering doing like a master's, figure or women's bodybuilding competition, 1.6 is a very, very reasonable target that you don't need to go above, but there's no downside to going over if you're aiming to build muscle. Now, if you're in an energy deficit, especially a pronounced one, and you're trying to lose a substantial amount of body fat, the leaner and leaner you get, the more your body will rely on amino acids, which we get from protein for fuel. And the more there's a risk of not maintaining as much muscle mass as you get leaner and leaner and stay in this prolonged energy deficit. So it's not a bad idea to make sure that you're at least at that 1.6 range or maybe getting closer to 2 grams per kilogram if you are dieting. Now, if you're someone who is reasonably high in body fat and you're also therefore relatively high in body mass, that gram per kilogram conversion can give you probably more protein than you would necessarily benefit from and make your diet harder to follow. And you can essentially just bump these figures up by about 0.4. So we're looking at like, say, 2 and 2.5-ish or somewhere in there as you're kind of not dieting and dieting kind of target intakes. But that would be for every kilogram of lean mass that you have. And if you don't know how to calculate your lean mass, you could, look to get a DEXA scan if you wanted to get a decent amount or a decent precision measurement. Or if you're unsure there, a decent proxy for this that doesn't work for everyone but works for a lot of people is you can take your height in centimeters as a decent target for grams per day of protein. And that almost always falls in a decent range. And that's if you're pretty high in body fat and you're pretty high in body mass. Ultimately, the reason why we're consuming protein is to have an impact on our fat-free mass, our lean mass component of our body. And if you are high in body weight, it can kind of inflate that number more than it needs to be. So you can certainly benefit from higher protein intakes, but it is diminishing. And I think a decent target or range is somewhere around, 1.5, 1.6 or higher if you're in an energy surplus, and then a little closer to, like, say, 2 grams per kilogram if you're, trying to diet and preserve as much muscle as possible. But then again, just to go back to my initial point, if you're currently around 1 gram per kilogram, it is an improvement and you will get better outcome even to get up to 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, regardless, deficit or surplus. And especially when you are early stages in your lifting career, if you are pushing hard progressively and training with intensity, then that is going to be a much more important component to building and maintaining muscle mass than maxing out the potential benefits you can get from protein. We're talking about 80% of what's going to produce that growth versus the kind of 20% at best on the nutrition side of things in protein. So the final piece to that question was that if you need 30 to 50 grams in a given sitting to max out that dose, this is based upon studies that last hours. And I think it's important to put that into context. You can actually label amino acids with certain techniques, which is a fancy way of saying we'd be able to trace where it goes through your body in a lab. And either looking at a biopsy later or some other techniques, we could figure out at what point did we get the highest rates of new muscle proteins being built in your body based upon where they're going and how many were incorporated. But those 4 or 8, maybe at best 12-hour studies have almost no relationship to actual long-term muscle growth. They're essentially looking at a metabolic snapshot of what's going on. They're useful for us to generate hypotheses, but they probably shouldn't be used to inform applied practice. When we look at studies in various age groups, and also when we look at epidemiological data on different trends and ways that people eat, you'll see that if you're consuming a sufficient amount of daily protein, so your grams per kilogram per day, so long as you're distributing it across at least, say, 3 meals in a relatively even fashion, you've probably done everything you need to do to max out the benefits of a per meal dosing strategy. So that means, let's say that you are consuming, say, 1.6 grams per kilogram of protein, and that puts you at, let's say 120 grams of protein in a given day. Okay. So if you were to split that between, say, 3 meals, that's getting 30 to 40 grams per meal. That's totally fine. And the data would bear that out.